The wait is over, and I am here to show you Evercade's latest. And two of these multi-carts are the Giga carts, and this is the Tomb Raider Collection 1. And these are the first three Tomb Raiders that came out. These are the PlayStation versions, I do believe. And I wanted to show this, wanted to do an unboxing. I've covered every single Evercade multi-cart and most of the hardware. I did a marathon video, you can check that out. I'll put a link below where I cover all things Evercade. So here it is. Really excited about showing this. I know there's a lot of people that grew up with these Tomb Raider games, and there's a lot of people that grew up with PlayStation, and here it is. Just your classic Tomb Raider 1 through 3. Now, kind of the weird thing is these have been remade, and these are offered on modern platforms with updated visuals and controls. This is old school. This is kind of how you remember them, for better and worse. Tank controls. And for people that want to go back and play the old school classics, here you go. And maybe you got rid of your PlayStation long ago. This is an option. It is not the only option though, but you know what? Evercade is all about retro, and this is a good fit. I'm really happy that they were able to secure a license and offer this collection at an affordable price. So Tomb Raider 1, Tomb Raider 2, these are fantastic old school classic games. Now they have old school controls, and you know, if you're not familiar with tank controls, look at that manual, and you know what, it's not for everybody. Now the later games did have analog controller support. I don't know if Evercade is planning to offer analog control options for these games. I'm just using I'm capturing this footage on the Versus using the standard controller it came with. And you know what? I have to say, you have to have time jumps, and that's part of the fun and the challenge with these games, with that tank control. But you know, there's a lot of people that love growing up with these. So just want to be upfront about what you're getting with these. But the games ran, there was no glitches or issues. They seem to run like they would back in the day, and so load times were fairly fast as well. But yeah, I am a fan of these Tomb Raider games. You know what, I am interested in checking these out. My question is, for everybody, there might be some people that want to play these with updated controls and visuals, and there's some options on modern platforms. But if you want to go old school, this is an option for you. And I think that they did a good job with offering this bundle on a budget affordable cart. Well, this one is the one everybody's excited about. This is the Legacy of Kain Collection, and I'm really grateful to show this. Now, I don't have a lot of experience with the first Legacy of Kain, but definitely played Soul Reaver on both PlayStation and Dreamcast. These are the PlayStation versions, I do believe, just looking at the visuals. And another question about having some analog options moving forward with Soul Reaver. But let's jump right in. Here's the color manual. They do a really good job at talking about the instructions and controls and information about the game that does make it more helpful. And I'm very grateful that they offer a color manual on an affordable package. So here's Blood Omen Legacy of Kain. I know a lot of people, this was one of the first games they played on their PlayStation going back to '96. And you know what, it's a mature title and with mature themes, and you know what, for people, this is going to be kind of what they remember and grew up with. I have very little experience playing this. I kind of vaguely remember playing it with a friend, but you know, I didn't have a PlayStation when this came out. I got a PlayStation secondhand and later, around the time of Final Fantasy. So this was an action RPG that I kind of missed, but I know for a lot of people that is what they remember, and it's really exciting to see this, as there's a lot of people excited about not only that, but this. Now, I definitely have more experience playing Soul Reaver, and that was kind of my jam. I played it on the Dreamcast and PlayStation. I wonder about analog controllers and support. So playing this with an Evercade controller is doable, but definitely my wonder is it'd be great if Blaze offered an analog controller or the analog support. Anyways, in the comments, let me know. But yeah, going back and playing this is a really good game, and kind of was not completely forgotten about. But you know, it's nice that this is kind of unique. This is a unique collection to the Evercade system, and I think there's going to be a lot of people excited about this. This, for me, of all these that I've shown initially, this is the one that I have the most memories about. In the later 90s is when I started playing these types of games more. During the mid 90s, I had just graduated high school and was at a local college and did not have a PlayStation yet. So I was just kind of getting into 32-bit gaming eventually. One of the strengths of Evercade is these collections in which I have no experience with. And so Thalamus Collection was something that appeared to be very popular overseas. You know, and I was a big Commodore 64 fan in the earlier 80s, but you know, by the 90s and late 80s, I was into Sega Genesis and more 16-bit. And so this is a collection of games. Looks like mostly C64, home computer classics, and something I have no experience with. So it was really nice to see a collection of games and just to check them out for the first time. I'm far from the expert, but I can give you my initial thoughts. This is just kind of a first look at these. You might have grown up with these, and in the comments below, let me know. So this is a collection, an eclectic collection of lots of different types of games put all together. And you know what? There's going to be something on here for everybody. I didn't like all the games. They're not my cup of tea, but I think for many people, they're going to love this. Armalite Competition Edition. Looks like kind of a really cool shooter. And I've played a lot of games, so it's kind of exciting to play a collection of games from a respected company for the first time. And wanted to give you my thoughts. And wanted to kind of share my experiences with you. So this definitely has is reminiscent of several classic shooters, Gradius, maybe a little bit of R-Type, maybe some other classic shooters of the late 80s. And the late 80s was really a fun time because you had many different types of games coming out, and they were more refined. Here's Creatures. Creatures is a cute little platformer, pretty difficult, but I really like the animations. You could tell that this company was just knowing their stuff and how to program for the Commodore 64. Very colorful, great music, good control, but tough. This was a tough game. Died several times, just showing some minor footage here. I don't know if this is my favorite game, but I know for many people you might like this or grew up with it. In the comments, let me know. Then you had Creatures 2, which kind of had some more refinement. I think I enjoyed Creatures 1 initially a little bit better. This first stage was really tough, but you know what? I did enjoy what I played initially. I think I like the classic shooter better for the first 3 games. Now this was more my jam, Hawkeye. Kind of more action platformer, not cutesy. This would be something, oh man, if I grew up with this, I definitely would have played this more. I don't know how many stages there are, but yeah, this is fun. This is well done. I was really impressed with this game. Probably so far my favorite of this collection. I did like the classic shooter as well, but this is good. I thought this was well done. And then next you had Hunter's Moon Remastered. The first release of this was in '87, and looks like they went back and refined it and added some things. So it was really nice to see this company survive. They closed down in the early 90s and then came back as an independent company. So really cool to see that Thalamus is still around, and look forward to seeing what else they do. But yeah, Hunter's Moon Remastered is a good arcade style shooter. It reminds me a little bit of Bosconian, which I love Bosconian. It's a little different though. You go around and you're collecting these things, and then it warps you to another sector But yeah, I enjoyed this one, and definitely one that I would go back and revisit. So definitely, of the collection here, there's a lot of different mix of different types of games, and some are going to be your favorite, and others you may not go back to. Then he had weird stuff like Nobby the Aardvark. And so, you know what the 90s was all about, different platformers. It seems like everybody was making their own platformer. And you know what? Thalamus, this was kind of their swan song in the early 90s. And you know what? Not my cup of tea per se, but you know what? It was nice to see this. It looks like it's well done. Crazy action, mayhem, and retrograde, and definitely one I want to come back and play more and figure out. There's so much going on, so many things can take you out. You can fly in the sky, but you also can land, and pretty much you can have ground attacks and punch enemies, and there's shops, and there's some cool things in this game. I definitely want to play this more. The what the heck game for me was Heat Seeker, and this is just a really odd game, and maybe you grew up with this, but just well done. There was a lot of like neat things about this game that I would probably want to go back and explore. It seems like part puzzle, part platformer, but some really neat technical marvels done on the Commodore 64, and yeah, I like this one. It was really strange though. I didn't really know kind of what was going on, just kind of figuring some things out. But yeah, like this one quite a bit. It was so unusual. I like playing a game that I haven't experienced before, and I can see why this was included on the collection. And then he had stuff like Snare. Snare was kind of like, I don't know, I don't know how you explain this type of game. But did you grow up with this? But yeah, your controls were a little weird. I did like kind of the graphic effects in this game, but you have to like solve by going different directions and picking up items and then clearing levels and then going to the next stage. But I was able to figure it out a little bit and collecting those things, but I needed more time checking this out. This is just a first look. Then you had stuff like this, which was called Summer Camp, and there was another one called Winter Camp. And these two games, a little bit kind of a platformer, a little bit of mappy maybe thrown in there with different things to collect. It's colorful and cute and not my type of game I'd probably go back and replay, but it's well done. Definitely for the Commodore 64, just very colorful and fantastic. Here's Winter Camp, and maybe you grew up with these, but there were some other games on this collection. I was really happy with this collection overall. I think there's something for everybody, and well done. Next, you have the second collection from the Bitmap Brothers, and there's going to be a lot of people excited about some of these games, especially Amiga. These are the Amiga versions, and I love that it says it right there on the front. You know, for licensing issues, I think they can't do that for all the collections, like what exactly the games are from. These are Amiga games, and so with that being said, you're going to have vivid memories of these, or like me, maybe not experience these, as Amiga wasn't as popular in the States, and there's 6 games included on here, and you're gonna have varied memories of these. And for me, these are some of the first times experiencing these in its entirety. So Cadaver, and there's also an expansion, and Cadaver the Payoff, and these were offered in the early 90s. And, you know, for some people, you may love experiencing and checking these out. For me, I wonder if this would be easier playing with a mouse. But for some people, you're going to love and enjoy this. Both this and the expansion. For me, personally, Gods was probably the best on this collection. I really enjoyed this. Figuring out the controls pretty easy. Yeah, I really liked it. Well done graphics and sound. And it was nice to play the Amiga version of this versus the Sega Genesis one, which I grew up. And so in the comments below, let me know, did you grow up with this classic? I'm really glad Gods is on here. One of the better games for me personally on this collection. Then you had this platformer, Magic Pockets. Not my favorite. And maybe something I need to play a little bit more, but You know, for me, if you're going to give me a choice between like a more like mature action platformer versus like a QT platformer, I'm always going to go for the mature action platformer. Games such as like Castlevania come to mind, Rastan. Those are my jams. Those are the games, Ghouls and Ghosts. These types of games here, while some people may prefer them, not my favorite and probably not something I'm going to go back and play. You may prefer something different, but for me, it wasn't my favorite. Didn't even know there was a Chaos Engine 2. I'm a big fan of Chaos Engine and really thought the first one was absolutely fantastic. Played the Genesis one a lot, called Soldiers of Fortune over here in the States, but the Amiga one is brilliant. The second one makes it a more like competitive versus 1 versus 2 player, and I don't know if I like it as much. I need to play this more and maybe play it with somebody. It looks fun, but I'd rather play something more like the Chaos Engine original release, which was on the first collection. Last, you have kind of like a real-time strategy game called Z, and I played this as best as I could. But for me, I had a challenge playing this with a controller. I wonder if this would be a lot easier playing with a mouse. And I don't know, in the comments below, did you remember growing up with this? 96 too. Wow, it came out pretty late. But yeah, I like playing this game, but I do wonder if it would be easier to play with like a mouse control. Anyways, that's it. That's the games that Evercade has just released. And in the comments, you can let me know your experiences with these, and you can click below some of the links where you can pre-order and order some of these now. Others will be available at a later time. Thank you so much for viewing this video. If you like what you see, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button and clicking the bell, as I'm uploading videos every week. You folks are wonderful and beautiful. Let's keep it positive. This is the Immortal John Hancock, and you take care.